We all put a ton of time into this game. If you're watching this video, without a doubt, you are not just a turn on the game every now and then casual, right? If you're watching this video, that means that you put a significant amount of time into playing football games, in particular FC, right? And even if it is eFootball or UFL, it's the same thing. So most all of us actual competitors know that the old "I just play for fun so it doesn't matter" doesn't work. That's actually a cop out. It's a cop out to be lazy. It's a cop out to not give it your all in something that you put as much hours as you do. I mean, add up the time that a hardcore gym goer goes to the gym each week. It doesn't even come close to what we put into these games. Add up the time that people do any of the biggest hobbies, right? That they put time into, that they practice, right? And it doesn't come close to the time that many of us put into these football games. I'm not even going to say FC in particular because it really doesn't even just pertain to football games. It pertains to any video game. If you're playing more than just every once in a while turning it on, don't even really know the whole game, just like the shooting games or the racing games or the sports games, and then you turn it off and every few days the same thing. No, I'm talking about the people who day in and day out are playing the game. If you're playing FC, you're building your team to the best of your ability. You're looking at different videos trying to become better, right? So the whole, "oh, I'm just playing for fun," it doesn't work. When you put this much time into something, right, and you have that winning mentality, then of course it matters. And so when I get the beta, which I cannot talk about right now, but I do have the footage and will release it eventually. When I get the beta and I'm putting the work in, and I put in the work in FC25, and I've been putting the work since 2022 to be a competitive player, and finally EA Sports gives us a true football game, or as true as it's ever been, where there's skill in every area, a skill gap, and I'm able to go out and beat the player that you're seeing on screen as we speak. It feels good. It's an accomplishment, especially considering the fact that you are watching a game where this player is in the final four of the World Championships. A top four ranked player that plays professionally for New York Red Bulls. A player that just played the eventual champion that you're going to see here. So spoiler alert, I gave up the game. But I was just talking about how good this player was all weekend, right? We watched the streams. You can check them out. And then to all of a sudden match this player in Foot Champs for the beta, and then beat him with a last-minute winner in a back-and-forth game that was competitive all along, with all the nonsense from FC25 gone, right? Where it came down to skill defensively in the attack, the build-up, creating chances, scoring chances, with all the goalie movement and like the mental games going on, to come out on top is a huge confidence booster, and it just shows that all the time is worth it. Why? Because I might not be a pro at the level of Gabarros, right? However, I am someone who has dedicated a lot of time not only to playing now, but to helping other people reach their full potential. Just like with coaching, I know that I have something to bring to the table in real football and helping players, right, reach further than they would without my help. That's just the bottom line. If I can help players in any way, putting them in a better spot than they would be without me, then I accomplished my goal. And that's what I'm doing in FC. Do I claim to be on Gabarros' level? Do I claim to be anywhere near where he's at? No. But beating him fair and square in an outright game like that shows that I'm up there and I'm going in the right direction, right? You don't mistakenly beat a player like this. And when you see the footage, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It is an even game. It is a game where he was making a ton of different changes tactically, and it was pretty cool to see as well, right? I went back and you can see events throughout. I made a grand total of 0 subs. He made 3, and then a big tactical adjustment that I noticed in the middle of the game after he went up. So he went down 2-1, then he went up against me 4-2, and actually took the time to change his tactics and go more defensive. And when I saw the sub he made, and then seen on the mini map, and of course looked at it afterwards too, and saw that he wanted 2 CDMs in there, and then didn't want Puteas anymore. He wanted a more defensive player. He had 2 more attacking central mids and put Rodri in. I knew. So even though I was down 4-2 at the moment, I think it was in the 60-something minute when he went up 4-2, I knew. I was like, this is a real deal, though. He doesn't want to lose, and he has to know stuff like this is going to come, right? When you're a player in this game and you're committed to the level that we are, where we're going to watch videos, which I did the same before I was a content creator, right? That's, again, a big motivator, because I think a space is missing with all the content creators in FC. A space is missing for this type of stuff. The content creator that's helping others grow and reach their potential, instead of just, I need clicks and views, so I'm going to post a million tactics videos. Not teach people why they're the best, just call them meta tactics, release them, and they'll keep coming back for these. Like cattle, right? Like sheep. Many of these content creators treat us like, right? And so when I'm seeing all these changes, I realize, like, dude, I'm actually creating a tough game for this top world player. Top 4 in the world, to be exact. And that motivated me. And sure enough, made 3-4 with a beautiful goal. Then 4-4. And I was like, I'm not going out like this. And we would have went into extra time and maybe PKs. But I was like, no way. I'm getting this. And sure enough, he's having a great attack. I make a beautiful defensive stop. Again, once the deadline goes past, when we can actually share footage from the beta, you'll see all this. And then I make a beautiful attack and win the game 5-4. Now, this is amazing for 2 reasons. One, obviously beating a top 4 world ranked player that I'm watching as we speak, that I watched all weekend. It's crazy timing, right? That's the best player in my country and one of the best in the world, right? He is literally the number 1 player in the United States. So that was huge, but it also shows that the skill that I'm working on, the path that I'm taking, the players that look for my guidance to reach their full potential, I'm going in the right direction. And I put everything on the fact that EA Sports would continue to go towards actual football, actual skill, instead of what UFL and eFootball did. Because if they went that route, nothing I banked on would have worked. And I wouldn't have wanted to play these football games anymore anyway. I mean, EAFC has been going down that direction where it's a bunch of goofy nonsense, non-football, and then you have all the trolls, all the rats that talk crap afterwards and actually think they're good at the game, but they're not playing football. They're just totally taking advantage of a time when all these development companies are putting all this nonsense in the game. Sometimes purposely to help these low-level rats, sometimes not even on purpose. It just works out that way. So it's a super rewarding feeling when you love the game of football, you play the game the right way, and you get rewarded for it, right? So this game where I beat Gabarros, it signified way more than just winning one game. Now, he wouldn't make excuses, I hope. Maybe he would. He did rage quit after I scored. He didn't even wait for the kickoff, which I get, I guess. You do get penalized for it extra when you do it in beta. There's this whole screen that comes up. But we all do it. We all leave games, and usually at the last kick of the game, you might not leave. However, I think he knows the consequences of losing because he is one of the best players in the world, right? And when you get to where we matched up in champs, it's going to be other top players that most likely are going to know who you are, right? But that's the beautiful thing about it. When you're good enough to have a target on your back, that's still a compliment. It's a compliment that we can watch him play right now, and that it's almost like winning a cup in itself as a non-pro beating him. So this is more for all the players that are on their journey to reach their full potential and recognize that they put a lot of time into these games and into this game in particular, and they want to reach their full potential, just know you can. Just know if you've been struggling like many because of the direction of the game, and you know in the back of your mind it's not real football, but you don't want to sound like an excuse maker. You know, you don't want to go back and forth with all these rats and all these, low skill players that are benefiting from this nonsense. Even though I spent a whole year doing it, I could tell you that it gets exhausting, right? The whole thing is I hope someone can see kind of the route that I went, as well as addressing a lot of these losers, and you can see they're losers. I've went deep into that, and hopefully you guys can see, like, okay, it's not just me, because it's the most frustrating thing to see this and go, am I crazy? Like, these players are terrible, right? But I wanted to make this video in particular to make sure you guys knew that the game is headed back in the correct direction. So if you love the game of football, if you play FC or even, well, unfortunately I can't speak on eFootball and UFL because it doesn't look like they're going in a good direction. I spent a year playing every football game, making sure that I committed to the right game, right? Something that stayed true to the beautiful game where you could actually put the work in to get better training-wise, and you were actually enjoying true football. And the only game that's made the leap towards that, some would even say back towards it, even though PES was the traditional, like, if you want to enjoy real football, it was PES. EAFC, formerly FIFA, was more of the quote-unquote arcade football game. But now, it's EA Sports FC that's taking the cake and everything, right? When you talk about staying true to football, that's the one of the, out of the 3 games that's actually going back to that, right? Or going towards that, maybe, because some would argue they've never been about true football. They've been more about arcade football. And now the game's more realistic than ever. There's more skill gap than ever. And what you're watching right now is the best of a terrible game in FC 25, but make no mistake about it. All of you who stayed to playing football for football's sake in FC 25, you will now be rewarded in FC 26. So, I was going to break this down because it was a lot of great football. I mean, if you're watching in the background, both of these players are incredible, and a lot of this quick movement reminds me of not only what I just faced, but what FC 26 is about, right? And this isn't from my experience in this game I played, Gabaros, or my experience in the beta, since we can't talk about it. It's from all the leaks. I mean, fortunately, there's so much gameplay that FC released themselves, and then a ton of people are leaking stuff that I'm not saying anything that you can't see, but it's all positive. It would suck if we were seeing all this and it's like, man, FC 26 is going to be terrible, or just the same old thing where it's like basically the same game. We've had that for years and years. No, this is a fully new experience, and this is going to be a game that rewards all of us who play skilled football and who have been doing things the right way, not leaning on trash just for the sake of winning, even though we know we're not really playing football. So for all the rats out there, I can't wait to match you again. You'll probably be gone with, by October. And for all the skilled footballers who recognize, the joy in actually simulating the sport they love in real life, who actually try to make the most out of the time, the hours and hours and hours they put in this game, now it's time to get rewarded in FC 26, right? So keep putting in the work, keep grinding, keep having fun. Just know that great football is on the way, and I'll see you soon. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, that is. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're interested in joining us, our team, my Discord is only $2.99 a month, and you get everything you need to stay on top of FC 26 and beyond. From tactics to team building, players searches, knowing the best players for each price range, knowing when to buy players, when to sell players, what items you can purchase consumable-wise to rack up coins, helping you with team restrictions for events, tournaments, all of the above. Anything you can think of that you need help with, we have in Discord. It is our headquarters. No, we don't have a big brick and mortar headquarters like Team Falcons. If you saw the big tour, that's an amazing facility. But we do have Discord, and 24 hours, 7 days a week, because we have players from all different time zones, you can get help. No more fear missing out. No more headaches, feeling like you're making mistake after mistake on and off the pitch in FC. We got your back. So if you can afford $2.99 a month, check out my Discord, OGamester or just go to the link in the YouTube bio. There's also YouTube memberships, so you can get content like this early, get priority speaking, and other benefits. Not to mention it carries over to Discord where you become an OGFC starter, and you get extra privileges there. So I try to make sure I take care of you guys for minimum price. I try to make sure the value that you get is through the roof, and I feel really good about the memberships in the Discord cost-wise to the value you get. So if you're interested, check that out, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.